Yo, how's it going everybody? It's Sketch and welcome back to the channel. And on today's episode, we're taking a look at Thrasher magazine's Skate and Destroy for the PlayStation 1, developed by Z-Axis and published by Rockstar Games in 1999. This skateboarding game is actually a rather interesting one, being closer to a skate simulator compared to its recently released competition, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which made its debut only a month prior. Compared to other skateboarding games on the PS1, this one does its own thing and has a more realistic take on skating, mixed in with some slightly more complex mechanics. The story is quite simple here. Choose one of the 6 playable skaters, each with their own specialties like transition skating, technical or more hash styles, and go through the game's 12 stages based on various iconic locales and spots. The goal is to smoke each level and then rise through the ranks of amateur to pro and eventually become Skater of the Year. Gameplay wise, this has quite a few things going on here. Unlike the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater franchise, Skate and Destroy goes with a more skate simulator approach compared to the more arcade style of most other skateboarding games on the PlayStation. Here the objective is to meet or exceed a certain score per spot and then successfully make it to the exit without meeting any of the spot's hazards. The way this game controls is going to take a second to get used to, but if you played EA Skate or any of the more recent titles like Skater XL or Session, it'll make sense a little bit faster considering they've got a lot of similarities. Skating here is mapped to the face buttons and directional pad, a bit differently considering here certain combinations will perform certain tricks. Grinds, flip tricks, 180s, and setting up nollie or fakie are all mapped to their own face or trigger button, and players can learn more tricks upon completing each stage. Throughout each stage you'll learn new tricks which after a while will start to expand on the gameplay and allow for more complex lines and maneuvers. It's an interesting progression system that once your character gets better, you'll get sponsorship offers from various skateboarding brands of the time like Zoo York, 40s, and DVS. The controls will take a moment to get used to, but once you get it and have a deep bag of tricks to work with, it opens up a ton of possible combinations. Each stage lets you skate around and see the layouts of each spot, and once ready, players can hit select and begin their run. Stages vary from arenas, often including iconic spots like the China Banks, Embarcadero, Burnside, and the LA River. Some stages will be contests, where others will be sessions on each stage with no other objective than to meet the score limit and make it to the exit in time. This however doesn't come without its hazards though, since this is where Skate and Destroy does something quite unique. Your board can break and end your run unlike other skateboarding games at the time. Your character can also take too much damage and get injured, also ending your run. If you're on the board once the time is run out, a chase sequence will begin from the perspective of either an officer, street tough, or even a vicious guard dog. Tricks done in this sequence will get a triple multiplier, but the perspective it's viewed from does make it kind of difficult to skate. Get caught here, and again, the run is over and your score is lost. Skate and Destroy also features several 2-player modes where you can either run 2-minute or single trick sessions. There's even a mode where the goal is to take the most damage, which in this game is pretty easy to do with its realistic approach. There's no manuals or balance meters either, so you need to gauge your angles of approach, speeds, and balance them all out based on sight and feel. Gameplay overall is solid with a fairly deep control scheme along with some interesting mechanics with around 100 or so tricks to unlock during the game's 2 clears, and you can make some fun character builds with your playthrough all the way to the end. Graphics wise, this is a 3D polygonal skate simulator where most everything can be interacted with or skated in some way. There's natural obstacles like stairs, rails, and ledges, along with park obstacles like bowls, pyramids, and vert ramps. As mentioned earlier, this features some iconic spots and locations and has a few faithful recreations of legendary skate spots among the 12 stages. They've all got a decent amount of detail. While not quite as flashy as the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, it still looks pretty good with its varied and numerous spots. In between stages and upon completing the game, there are several clips from various Thrasher videos from the 96 to 98 era, like the eponymous Skate and Destroy, Raw, and Hillbilly Roadkill, along with clips from the RBU Molly East Coast features, Peep This, and Mixtape. Loading screens also feature photos seen in the magazine as well as old advertisements from sponsors featured in the game, which is a really cool touch. Interesting fact, the motion capture for Skate and Destroy was handled by pro skaters Cairo Foster, Diego Buccieri, Colt Cannon, and Paul Zuinich, who were all up-and-coming skaters at the time. Animations for tricks mostly looked pretty solid, and as far as I could tell, were mostly accurately recreated. The skating scene here actually does have a realistic and natural feel with some good attention to detail while not being too over the top like its competitors. Ragdoll physics are also seen here, and when it comes to bails, there will be some hilarious results with some of the slams seen within. Sound-wise, Skate and Destroy also holds it down in the audio department. Grinds and slides all sound pretty satisfying, and the soundtrack is off the chain, featuring an all-classic hip-hop track listing. It's got solid grooves to go with the skating, giving it an at times skate video feel here, with artists like Gangstar, EPMD, Run DMC, A Tribe Called Quest, and Sugar Hill Gang. The tunes are slapping pretty much front to back. While the skaters don't have much voice acting, during the chase sequences, characters chasing you will have a bit of dialogue as they run you out of spots, and those bits are pretty funny. If you've watched a lot of skate videos or grew up skating, it may all sound pretty familiar, and overall is pretty entertaining. Foley art is fairly well done with the sound effects. This game also features some solid sound for the wall rides in particular. Ambient background sounds like crickets at night and the roaring subway trains are also pretty nice additions. Overall, Skate and Destroy is a dope skateboarding simulator. It's got some nuanced controls, but once it all clicks, it starts getting really fun with the combos you can pull off, shutting down spots with heavy tricks. Amongst the skateboarding games on the PlayStation, it's a unique one since in a lot of ways it does several things its competitors don't, while still being pretty engrossing after a while. Skate enthusiasts will probably get the most out of it since it does have a late 90s vibe to it, but that was a great time for skateboarding in general, having many influential games and videos created as a result. Skate and Destroy gets an 8 out of 10 and comes recommended to fans of simulator games as well as modern skateboarding games like Skate or Session. It's got hours of playtime, and even with its difficulty spikes and spots, once you figure out how to break through, it's got some rewarding moments. This, amongst the other skateboarding games on the PlayStation, has some similarities while standing apart and doing its own thing. This is usually on the cheaper end price wise, so if you have a PlayStation 1 and see this somewhere, it's definitely worth a try. If you also skate, it's an interesting piece of nostalgia from 90s skateboarding culture. And I thank you again for checking out this video. If you find these videos helpful, that's awesome. I'm glad you can use it as a resource. Check back often. We'll have more reviews and video commentaries coming up in the near future. But until then, take it easy, stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next one.